So good morning, thank you all for coming, and thank you to Storage Boost for letting me speak to you today. My name, as I said, is Rowan Draper, and I'm a public speaking coach. Don't have to worry about these contact details, you will get the presentation after, so yeah, don't worry. A little bit about me, other than the politics and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. For 15 years approximately, I was involved in amateur and youth theatre, as well as getting qualified with a degree in drama and a national diploma in performing arts. Lots and lots of stage experience with regards to plays like The Winter's Tale by Shakespeare, Antigone by Sophocles, or directing We Will Rock You at university. More recently though, I was an elected politician, so not responsible for Brexit locally. I was an elected politician for 8 years. I was the youngest, and still am, the youngest deputy mayor of Stafford Borough, and I was promoted to be an opposition spokesperson within my last year on the council, and I was a graduate of the Local Government Association's Next Generation scheme, which basically looked at aspiring leaders for future leaders of councils and cabinet members and the like. So today I'm going to split it up into three. I'm going to give two very short whistle-stop tours in how and what good public speaking is, how you can deliver with confidence in your presentations, and then a practical exercise on the elevator pitch. So just go around the room. Anybody who wants to put their hand up, what do you think good public speaking is? Okay.
Confidence.
Okay. Okay, so public speaker has to be confident to be good.
Incredibly engaging and speak with clarity.
Okay.
Clear, concise and confident delivery of the
Okay.
Knowledge of your subject.
Okay.
I was going to say to be able to communicate what message you want to get across to people.
Okay. So we've got clarity, confidence, knowing your subject.
Read your audience.
Read your audience. Very good one. So here are the 6 things that I think, and they're not exhaustive. I'll just step to the side so you can all see it. I think good public speaking is about making sure that you have eye contact with your audience. I get sick and tired of going to presentations where they've been told by somebody, oh, just pick a spot in the wall and just speak to that. It's not good. You're not getting the connection with me, you're not understanding what and why I'm saying it. So I think good public speaking is about having good eye contact. The other thing that I would say is about being authentic. I don't think I'm particularly funny. So when it comes to public speaking, I try not to fit in jokes into my public speaking, simply because if you're trying to reach something, if you're trying to present yourself as something that you're not, it's too easy for you to fall down, and there's loads of examples of really good public speakers. One I would identify as Gary Vaynerchuk, who is very authentic because he swears a lot, and lots of people don't like him for that, but at least he's true to who he is. So all the other stuff we've covered: appropriate content, audience engagement, good body language, effective volume, whether that's equipment or being able to project when you're standing. So just another question: what importance do you think audiences place on the following? So you've got body language, you've got content and voice. Which do you think is the most important to audiences? Content, okay. Anybody else?
I go body language because for me it's about authenticity. If you're not telling me what you're telling me, I'm kind of really switched off.
Okay.
You look bored, so why shouldn't I?
Yeah. Okay.
There's a big one with voice as well. If you haven't got a voice that is easily understood
Yeah.
then lots of your audience are just going to struggle. So no matter what your content is, because they can't hear it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I think it's important to have all three because everybody's identified something different.
Yeah.
So if you have all three of them, then each will have
Yeah, no, I agree. These are the three most important things with regards to your presentations, but there was some research in the 80s by a Professor Albert Moravian from UCLA who basically looked into what audiences think is the most important, and the answer is effectively the following. So 55% of people said that body language was the most important thing, 7% content, because as Mary says, if you have a speaker that is disinterested, then you're not going to listen to what they've got to say. And the voice, obviously, if you're too quiet, you're not going to be able to hear the content. So that's the research on what good public speaking is. So, oh, wrong one. Okay, so as I said, it's whistle stop. So moving into delivering with confidence for your presentations. So 3 quick tips. So body posture. I like to start my sessions coaching by telling people to stand with their feet shoulder width apart. The reason why is, can anybody remember the Tory party conferences where people were taking the mick out of Theresa May, George Osborne, I think David Cameron did it, somebody else did it, and they all did this massive power pose as if it was Blackadder, and they're going, ah. It's kind of right. Having your legs shoulder width apart enables your back and head to be in exactly the right position for you to deliver with confidence. So if you're standing up to deliver a presentation, you don't want to be hunched over, you don't want to be looking away, you want to be firmly planted with your feet in the floor and looking at your audience. The next tip I've got for you is focus. So I would say both before and during your presentation, using breathing exercises, especially if you are nervous about your presentation, and why wouldn't you be? You know, your presentation could be to sell a client, it could be to introduce your business. They are important. They are important presentations to make, but by working on your breathing, it helps you to focus on what's in front of you. There's an adage about professional sports. If you listen, especially with the Rugby World Cup on at the moment, all the journalists will ask players about their performance and what the finals or getting past the group stage, and every player will always say, look, we're just going to take it to the next game, because during that game they are focused on the next tackle, the next run. Only if you focus on what is next in front of you, then you don't allow the doubts, the fears and the nerves to get into your head. And the final one, easiest one, repetition. The amount of people that I speak to that say, I'm really bad with public speaking, and I say, okay, how much do you practice? I don't. So whether you're a mechanic or a plumber, a footballer, or anything in your profession, if you don't repeatedly do it, how are you going to get better? So those are 3 simple tips to improve your confidence delivery. So now we're going to talk about the elevator pitch. The elevator pitch, so named because it's supposed to take the time that it's supposed to have an elevator ride. It's supposed to be about introducing an idea, a person, a product. You're supposed to present relevant details for the person that you're speaking to, because nobody wants a elevator pitch when they're not interested. And finally, a call to action. You've spoken to this person, you've got them on the hook, they're ready to do something, and then you leave it because you didn't say, give me a call, or go to my website, take a business card. So, a couple of example structures for elevator pitches. So, the first one I would use is if you're trying to move on. So, say for example, you're trying to get an internship at a prestigious company, and you find who the HR director is, and you happen to meet them at a networking event. Hi, my name is Robert. I want to talk to you about your internship program. I'm at university and I do da 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 da. Please would you give me a call? Please can I give you a business card? So that's one structure you can use. Second structure, more appropriate for selling products and ideas, but describing the pain point. So most of you who are in business and are focused on working with attracting clients will know that you are effectively trying to solve a problem that they have, because otherwise, why are they going to come to you? So you have to describe their pain point. What is the problem that they are experiencing and how can you solve it? So this example is for a virtual assistant. So I help small business owners with their time. They've got 101 things to do. They don't really want to be doing the social media. They don't really want to be doing their emails. I enable them to focus on growing their business. Now, if you're in that situation and you meet somebody and they say to you, I can solve your problems, you're going to be interested, aren't you? You're going to want to at least have a conversation with them. And that's the most important part of the elevator pitch. It's about building relationships. So, 10 things, I'm not going to go through them all. I'm just going to pick on a couple. So, a couple of things that you should do when you're doing an elevator pitch. Pause for breath. Don't just get into a situation where you go, right, I need to talk to you about this because I've only got 60 seconds and I need to talk to you. Because it looks desperate, and two, it doesn't look like you're in control. And if you want to be presenting the best version of yourself, taking a couple of seconds just to breathe and going on to the next thing that you want to say can be the difference in how you are received. It was already mentioned earlier about paying attention to your audience. How many times have you been to a networking meeting where somebody's just telling you about what they do and they're not noticing that you have completely turned off because of the way that they're delivering? So pay attention to your audience, because you can then adapt, because if they're then showing that they're disinterested, you can adjust. And the two don'ts, don't dine and dash, which means you've just done your elevator pitch, they're ready to do something, and right, I've got to go. I can't stay with you, because, as I say, elevator pitches are about relationship building. So if you show that you've got no interest or very little interest in continuing the conversation or taking it to the next stage, then it's a big sign. If somebody was saying to me, oh, can I give you a call? I'd be like, okay. And another one is don't pitch indiscriminately. So knowing who you're talking to. So my advice, don't go to a meeting and pitch to everybody, because they're not going to be the right people that you want to talk to. You might only want to talk to small business owners with staff of less than 5. You might want to talk to small business owners with 50 people. And there's a massive difference in the sector of small business. So knowing who you're talking to, and it's not wasting people's time. So we're going to go on to an exercise. So if you look to the person who's left of you, obviously every other person, if you can get into pairs and choose between you who's red and who's blue.
During this section of the presentation, I worked with attendants in their pairs to identify the information that they wanted to take out of their presentation to make it the most effective. We're now going to move on to the next exercise.
Would anybody like to volunteer? Right, good. My rugby coach always told me, don't volunteer until you know what you're doing. If there's anybody who said, yes, I'll volunteer, right, 20 laps. So what we're going to do is, rather than Dragon's Den, the shark's not appeared. There should be a picture of a shark on there, but we're going to do a shark tank. So I'd like 4 volunteers to be sharks, to basically listen to a pitch, and we'll take anybody who wants to do their pitch. Okay, so 2 volunteers here. Okay, 3, 4. Okay. Take your shark seats. Yes. Now I'm going to ask for some more volunteers who would like to pitch to the sharks. All the sharks are going to do is basically say yes or no whether you have convinced them of your elevator pitch. And if I need to add any advice or support about your presentation, then I will do so. So you've only got comments coming from me.
I don't mind doing.
Okay, James? Anybody else? Okay. We can have up to about 5 people. Don't have to have 5.
You might get more volunteers when we see how it goes.
Okay. Right, okay. As James was the... Say again.
Are we just pitching anything?
What have you been working on? I mean, you can pitch anything, but I think you probably get more use out of what you've been practicing for the last 25 minutes. Okay? Right, so James, when you...
During this part of the presentation, we had 2 volunteers who were willing to pitch to our sharks.
Based on that, is it a thumbs up or a thumbs down? We'll go Roman style. Okay, James has got 4 dragons, sharks on board. It's not copyrighted or anything, I just thought, right. Okay, who was next? Yes, sorry.
No pressure there then.
This is the second presentation, which I will leave anonymous, but we will jump back into feedback.
One thing to improve is you finished on your call to action and it was like, right, and then you carried on with the story. Now, not saying don't tell the story, but have that call to action as the end thing, and have the confidence to go, I have said as much as I need to say, because you don't... It's an old adage. When you go to job interviews for anybody who still has to face an employer or potential employer for a job interview, there's always the old adage of don't still continue to talk just because there's silence in the room. Be confident enough to take that pause and go, actually, I've finished what I need to say, now it's up to you. Okay?
If you've enjoyed watching this video or you found it useful and you'd like to organise a 30-minute free consultation call with me, you can do so by going to my website at www.portavocecoach.com and look for the consultation call button on the top right hand corner of the page. If you found the presentation useful, I'd really appreciate a review on Google. You can see from the video how and where to leave a review. If you do so, I will respond, and thank you for watching this video.